Welcome back to Level-Headed Gamer, guys. My name is Joseph, and today we got another Outriders armor set video. And today is the second part of the Devastator armor set. So we got two more here. We're gonna have the Seismic Commander armor set, and we're gonna have the Statue armor set. And we're gonna go through each one of the pieces of armor. We're gonna talk about the mods and how I think each of the style of gameplay it's going to favor for each of the armors, and kind of just have a small discussion. Again, this is kind of free form. It's not pre-planned and trying to look at and analyze every little thing. It's free form to see what kind of things we'll be able to do with it and just to start thinking about it, have a fun discussion. If you guys enjoy this kind of content, make sure to subscribe down below, and I'll be making a lot more of the armor set videos. We're going to have another one for Technomancer, also 2 videos coming a little bit later. Now let's get right into it and into the armors. Starting with the Seismic Commander's helmet. We're going to go to the first mod, which is going to be a tier 3 mod, Ultimate Impaler, which Impale, the skill can be activated 2 more times before triggering a cooldown. Good. We've seen these kinds of enhancements, but they're always super useful because it just makes that ability so much more powerful. Plus, Blood Shock, tier 1 mod, Earthquake inflicts bleed on enemies damaged by this skill. Again, reinforcing the Devastator's status effect of bleed is the main thing he's going to be kind of focused around, and this just kind of reinforces it, along with the set bonus, which increase damage towards enemies with bleed. Well, there you go. You cause bleed, do 150% bleed damage. It's just going to make this build, I think, right away, this is going to be a DPS focused build, but we're going to have to see what kind, so to say. Going on to the second piece of armor is the Seismic Commander's armor. Now the first mod we got here is a tier 3 mod called Palisades. Impale, the skill can strike 2 additional targets. So now you can do it twice along with striking 2 more targets. I think it's 4 now. But there you go. 8 enemies potentially can be very quickly impaled and left vulnerable in that moment, as well as Earth's Legacy mod, which is Earthquake, increases the skill's range by 60%. Again, it's nice. You don't, we're going to learn the range of each of the skills, but it's nice to know that you can do it from further away, despite this character being more of a up close and personal kind of guy. Moving on to the next piece of armor is going to be the Seismic Commander's gloves, with a tier 3 mod called Asunder. Earthquake, using the skill, permanently reduces the armor affected enemies by 20%. Permanently, meaning even after the skill goes away, right, you've done your damage, their permanently armor is decreased, which is going to be very useful for those really tough monsters, or if it's going to be bosses as well, including a second perk, I should say mod, tier 1 mod, Ground Crush. Earthquake increases the skill's base damage by 35. Well, I don't know how that translates into total numbers. Somebody would have to kind of crunch it and see, but we'll see kind of in the end when we actually get to play with this armor. Moving on to the next piece of armor is the Seismic Commander's leg armor. With a tier 3 mod, Life of the Party, incoming damage is reduced by 5% for each enemy in close range and can stack up to 8 times. We've seen this one before in one of the other armor sets this week, but it's just nice that it's here as well. Along with Rivers of Blood, Impale, increase the skill damage by 50% to enemies affected with bleed. That's going to be, Earthquake first and then Impale, I guess. That's kind of how it's going to work. Or maybe the gun's going to cause bleed, so it's kind of feed into itself. So it's a nice mod, depending if you can activate it properly. Well, the last piece of mod gear we have here is the Seismic Commander's foot gear with the first level tier 3 mod, Second Quake. Earthquake skill can be activated 1 more time before triggering cooldown. So both Impale and Earthquake can be activated twice. That's pretty nice. As well as Sharpened Spike. Impale, the skill deals 67 more damage. There you go. That's the first armor, and it's definitely almost like a single DPS. Well, not a single DPS. It's not mobbing for sure. It's kind of a focused DPS build overall, and it looks good. I mean, visually it looks freaking cool, but we kind of seen a little bit of that one. As a matter of fact, let's move on to the second armor and discuss that one, because that one looks really, really cool. Moving on to the second armor set, the Statue armor set. This one I love. I love the way every single piece of armor is going to look at it, and kind of pay attention to that as we go down the list. But starting with Statue's head, The first level tier 3 mod we got here is Grand Blast. Tremor increases the radius of each explosion by 20. And the second mod, Perseverance, with Golem increases the skill's duration by 50%. So meaning you can do some damage while also kind of protecting yourself. So maybe it's a tanky build. We're going to have to see. Also, it's going to have a set bonus of using either Tremor Golem, doubles your firepower and doubles your weapon skill each for you and your teammates. Wow, this is going to be great for those big expeditions, especially Eye of the Storm. So maybe it's kind of a mix between a tank and a DPS. We're going to have to see. Let's keep going. The second piece of gear we're going to have here is Statue's Torso. And the first mod is the Power of the Stone, so level tier 3 mod, Tremor. While the skill is active, allies are given 40% weapon damage bonus for 8 seconds. Jesus Christ. It's going to be a big team player here, right? We can see that right away. Crush Sequence, Tremor. Receive 2 additional explosions. Okay, so it's really doubling down on Tremor overall. Going to this third piece of gear, Statue's Hands. The first mod is, we've seen this one before, tier 3 mod, Not Impressed. Reduces the damage taken by elites by 20%, which is nice for that tankiness or just for the overall survivability of this character, which, I mean, I felt like I was playing on easy mode in the demo when I was playing with the Devastator. He's amazing. And then going on to the second mod is going to be Human Fortress. Tremor. Receive over 2,000 health regeneration and over 149,000 armor while the skill is active. So it kind of it diminishes after that, or it disappears, or it kind of goes down. We're gonna have to see how it really works. But again, it's, especially if your Tremor is going to be continuously kind of doled out, you're always going to be healing yourself, and it's going to be very hard to take you down. With the fourth piece of gear we got here is Statue's Legs. The level tier 3 mod here we got here is the Golem Squad. Golem increases the skill's duration by 20% and casts a 25% shorter version of Golem on your allies. Again, great team player. I can see that being the biggest armors for the Devastator for those really hard expeditions, as well as Stolen Life. Tremor increases the percentage of healed per affected enemy by 6%. So if you get to hit a bunch of enemies in a row, there you go, double the, doubling the effect, or just boosting the effect, I should say. And the last piece of gear we got here, looking like a gargoyle with those feet, is Statue's Feet. The level tier 3 mod we got here is Made of Marble. Golem. While the skill is active, incoming bullets have 20% chance to ricochet back at the enemies, dealing slightly over 1,900 damage. Plus the second mod, Bleeding Impulse Golem. While the skill is active, spawn radial impulses that inflict bleed on enemies with a 6-meter radius, frequency of 2 seconds. So I think I was right to say that this is a very tanky build. It's not the highest DPS focus for this one. It's, I think, the ones we've discussed before on this channel for the Devastator are a little bit, especially in the first video, were a lot more DPS focused. This is definitely a tank focused, healing focused build, but it's still a kick-ass armor, looks great, and I really can't wait to get my hands on this game. And that's all I got for you for the Devastator armor sets. There was 4 that was leaked, so I showed you all 4 in the 2 videos. If you need a link to the other one up below, I'm gonna make sure I link it at some point on top for you guys as well. But make sure to enjoy the rest of your day, guys, and peace out. Have a good one.